What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. With the launch of the Edge of Fate, we've been focusing a lot on Warlocks and on Hunter builds, but today it is time to break down a Titan build for you. With the nerfs to Bolt Charge as well as Consecration, I've been on the hunt for a Titan build that doesn't just work, but one that feels powerful, satisfying, and has a gameplay loop that is just fantastic. And let me tell you, after tinkering with some rocket-assisted madness and switching up how I approach Titan synergy, I think I found something that you are going to absolutely love. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, but now let's break this down from subclass, your loadout, stats, all the synergy, and of course the why behind it all. We're starting off with Prismatic Titan, but not the usual suspects. Forget Consecration and forget Knockout, because we're not using either of those aspects. And our super, we're going with Twilight Arsenal. I did test a few damage rotations, and believe it or not, Twilight Arsenal outperforms Thunder Crash in this setup. We're throwing our axes, not only weakening targets, but hey, you can pick them back up and throw them again, or chop up enemies, it's your call. Now for the melee, we are going to be sticking with Frenzied Blade. It does give us 3 charges, builds into our Darkness Transcendence meter, and severs targets, making them deal 40% less damage to us. Plus, on defeating those severed targets, it will create a tingle, which will become crucial later. Your grenade is pretty flexible here. Feel free to toss on Thermite if you want a solar grenade, Pulse for more arc, but me, I'm going with Glacial Grenade. I like freezing enemies, and frankly, I love exploding crystals. It does not really get old. Now, for the aspects, we're going with Diamond Lance, 1 to freeze enemies, more shatter, more fun. Then there's Dranger's Lash, so our barricade will suspend enemies, and this will synergize just beautifully with our exotic armor. Now for the barricade, we are using Rally Barricade for a couple of reasons. First up, it has a shorter cooldown, but it also will boost our reload, range, and stability of our weapons when we are behind it. Speaking of weapons, let's talk loadout. First up, this new rocket-assisted pulse rifle that is all the rage for good reason. It is just insane. It does have a small ammo pool, but yes, the damage is unreal. The Mint Retrograde has become my best friend in this build. My personal role that we are using is Envious Arsenal and Elemental Honing. With this build, you can easily get honing up to ×5, giving you the most damage possible. You could also use something with like rewind rounds in the first column, chain reaction in the last column. Any combo actually feels really good. They all cook, but this weapon in general, I don't think it really matters what your role is. It is going to feel incredible. Now, our exotic armor piece is really what helps this feel even better. We're using hazardous propulsion. When we get precision hits or final blows, you have a chance to load kinetic rockets, and activating your class ability will fire those rockets. So here's the synergy. Use your barricade, it procs Dranger's Lash, shoots your rockets, and the best part is Mint Retrograde gets a damage boost after the fact. It is a glorious damage loop, and it just feels good. Now for energy or our primary weapon, we are opting to run with a solar weapon, really because I grinded the hell out of Ride of the Nine to get this No Survivors Adept with Attrition Orbs and Incandescent, but it's going to help us build into Elemental Honing, which is key here. Anything really that you want to toss in the slot is going to be fantastic. At the end of the day, just use the primary that you really enjoy using, and hell, if it's solar, that's just an added bonus. Now for the power weapon, or our exotic of choice, it is Microcosm. Since this is a featured weapon, it does get that 10% damage buff, as well as building heavily into your Transcendence meter in your super. Plus, when you pop your Twilight Arsenal, this also gains a damage bonus, and it's going to work perfectly with our tech set armor archetype that we will be using. Because when we have 4 pieces equipped, breaking a shield or defeating a powerful enemy will create that disorienting shockwave. Think essentially a remastered Kinetic Tremors. Now, we've talked about their aspects. Those do give us 6 fragment slots, and this is what helps the build shine. Here's what I opted to go with for this build. First up is Facet of Protection, so when we get damage reduction while we're surrounded, which further increases while we have Transcendence. Then there's Facet of Grace, so kinetic weapon kills will grant us bonus Transcendence energy. Now there's Facet of Purpose, so every time we pick up an Orb of Power, we will get an Overshield. Facet of Courage, so we increase light ability damage against darkness debuff targets. Then Facet of Solitude, because this will sever targets on rapid precision hits, making them deal reduced damage to us. Lastly is Facet of Ruin, bigger stasis crystal explosions, as well as better solar ignitions. We are skipping Facet of Dawn here because we have another way to get Radiant. Leading us to our artifact mods. These help elevate any build to its greatest potential. First up, we've got Flame, Fiber, and Freeze, which will combine solar and strand mods. Then there's Fever and Chill, so rapid precision hits will grant Radiant. But what it doesn't tell you is rapid solar defeats will grant Radiant as well. Another reason we are using a solar primary. Next up is Frost Renewal, so while we have Frost Armor, taking critical damage will emit a freezing burst to enemies. Remember earlier when we were talking about building into tangles after we severed and killed enemies? That's where Threaded Blast comes into play. So when we shoot the tangle with a strand weapon, the explosion is drastically bigger. Then there's Cauterized Darkness, so stasis or strand debuffed enemies will take increased solar damage from all sources. Then there's Elemental Coalescence, so when we get kills, it can generate an elemental pickup, being a Void Breach, which will help our class ability regen. Then in the last column there is Radiant Shrapnel, dealing sustained weapon damage while we're radiant, or if we're defeating scorched targets with a weapon, it's going to cause the target to release solar projectiles that deal damage and scorch upon impact. And lastly is Shield Crush. While we have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or Void Overshield, our melee will recharge faster and deal increased damage, and while we're Amplified or we have Radiant, our Grenade is going to recharge faster and deal increased damage. Now onto the different armor mods we want to be using, and I should note that we are focusing on getting 100 class stats, so we have a high uptime on our Barricade. Now for the helmet mods, we are using Dynamo, so when we use that class ability near targets, it gives us super energy, then a solar and a strand siphon mod, so rapid kills equal orbs of power. For the gauntlets, we're tossing on fastball because I hate throwing grenades slow, then heavy-handed to create an orb of power on our powered melee defeats, and focusing strike, so dealing melee damage will give us class ability energy. For the chest piece, we are running multiple strand armor mods for our Mint Retrograde to get as much ammo as possible, then a resistance mod based on the activity that we're doing. Leg-wise, we all know recuperation got absolutely nerfed, so we're tossing on better already to get health regen on orb pickups, then absolution to reduce all ability cooldowns when we pick up that orb of power. And of course, we're going to be creating a lot of orbs of power with this build anyways, so we're tossing on a solar weapon surge. This is going to buff our primary because frankly, primary weapons feel like Nerf guns in harder content, so we want as much damage out of it as possible. You could easily swap this out for a kinetic surge or even a strand surge if you want more damage for one of those weapons. And then for the class item, we want to be using Reaper because we're going to be using our Barricade a lot. So basically, use your Barricade, get a weapon defeat, create an Orb of Power. Then there's Powerful Attraction to pick up any Orb of Power within 12 meters when we use our class ability. And then lastly is a special ammo finisher just in case you need a quick green brick. And there you have it, Guardians, an absolutely cracked Titan build that balances raw power, crowd control, survivability, and some good old rocket assisted chaos. This build melts enemies, has fantastic ability regen, and gives you a tool to dominate any type of content, from portal activities to raids and dungeons. Whatever you want, this build will shine. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and leave a comment if you're going to try this out, or if you tweak it. And of course, hit subscribe if you are new. My name's Avatar. Thank you all for coming and watching, and I will catch you in the next one.